So, My Hero Academia Vigilantes Manga Chapter 110 has officially released, and oh my gosh, this was the chapter that I've been waiting literal months for, and you'll see why right after this intro. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy Monkman Drew, and I'm here to do my review of My Hero Academia Vigilantes Manga Chapter 110. And let me just say that this is a big chapter. Not for everything that goes on in this chapter. No. It's what exactly happens at the end of this chapter, which makes this chapter amazing. And we'll get to that in a little bit more. But overall, when it comes to this chapter, we are still focusing on Koichi and his fight with number 6 and how he is trying to escape from the anonymous villains, and it kind of leads him into a trap, as well as we get to see a few cameos from our very well known, and I forgot all of their names, side characters, and I promise you I didn't have to look them up. No, but we get to see more cameos from them, as well as Soga appears in this chapter. So overall, there is a sort of kind of lot that goes on in this chapter, but that's not the massive part of this chapter. I'm going to save that one for the end, but if you see the thumbnail, you'll probably take a wild guess on who I may be talking about. So, before we get more into the review, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like this type of content. If you like to see me review My Hero Academia Vigilantes, then subscribe to my YouTube channel. Without the way, let's get right into the review, because I'm very excited about this chapter. So, the chapter starts off with Koichi trying to escape the anonymous villains. He tries to go down a side alley, which unfortunately he realizes that he's trapped, and he realizes that, oh, I can't go down these narrow alleys. It makes me more susceptible to these anonymous explosions. And for the most part, yeah, he gets exploded back, as we get the title of this chapter being Careless, as we see that Koichi has been thrown back by the explosion in this small little alleyway, as he also notices that, oh no, there are literal people here. I have to lure these anonymous villains away, as we have these people that are like, oh hey look, isn't that the curler? Yeah, isn't he flying? As you have Koichi's like, yo, get away, as he tries to protect the people, and he's able to protect them. He's able to disperse the blast, but the force of the blast sends him flying into the ground, showing that, yeah, even though he may be able to like deflect the blast, he cannot deflect the force. And as we see in this one panel, he's bleeding from the side of his head, where he's like, yo, y'all need to get out of here, get going, as you have the people that look at the curler or look at the crawler, and it's like, yo, you're bleeding, are you sure you need help? As he's like, no, just get out of here. But then after all that happens, you have Koichi, who comes to the conclusion that he can't go down the back alley streets because they're too narrow and could be caught by the explosions, and how he cannot stay in these more populated street areas because people could potentially get hurt. So he begins to realize that there's only one place that I have to go to, and we don't get what it is immediately, but we also cut over to Soga, and he realizes that the bombings are coming in a different direction, most likely showing that Koichi is heading in a different direction. So Soga is planning to head in the direction where Koichi is heading. But then we get a reintroduction to some of our most favorite side characters. And by side characters, I mean the characters that we know have an involvement with Pop and Koichi, where you have the Hota brothers, you have the loving high school couple, you have the triplets, as well as the eel boy, Cyclops, Wolverine, Mantis guy, and Octopus with no fist, as well as you have Yu and Mew. And when it comes to the focus of why they're here, we're just getting their reactions to the situation. They are noticing that the explosions are getting closer to where they are, meaning that where Koichi is heading to where they are right now. They're in pretty close proximity, which makes sense for what we see later on, which is that after Mew hears everything that the Hota brothers are saying, involving how the bombs and the blasts could be getting worse, and that potentially they hear that the crawler is in the area and that he's being chased by villains, you have Mew, who just jumps up and decides to rush off. Now, most likely she's going to be playing a role in this fight along with Soga. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but from what I'm predicting, most likely she could just be a sort of messenger role, because she could run into Soga to convey a message to someone else about someone else's reappearance, or convey a message by her seeing someone that she may know and relay that message to Koichi. We just don't know. We're just going to have to see what role she plays, but most likely everyone is going to go to the scene where Koichi is and see him have his triumphant moment, and this just could be the lead up to it. We just don't know yet. But yeah, going from that, we cut back over to Koichi as we see that the anonymous villains are following him, and we're actually in a very familiar area. We're actually in the old town of Narita, the area where Koichi lives, and this was Koichi's plan. Koichi is planning on leading these anonymous villains out of Narita, out of this area, and by doing so, seeing if he can alert All Might to the situation so that he can come in. Koichi thought of this idea based off everything that has gone on, but there's someone lurking in the shadows. We get to see the creature that is number 6, who pretty much states that this was all a part of his plan, that the reasoning why he brought these anonymous villains towards Koichi is to literally lure him to this area, because if you noticed, we didn't see number 6 following Koichi with these anonymous villains. It was only the anonymous villains, and that is because number 6 pretty much set up this trap. He knew that by pushing Koichi to this area that he would have an advantage to take a literal shot out on him, as he apparently has a rifle muzzle as well as some bullets hidden inside of his body, as we see that number 6 has turned into number 6 sniper style. This much, number 6 predicted everything that Koichi would do and pushed it in play so that he could have a literal shot out to kill Koichi. As he begins to go on this little rant about how when it comes to a sniper, it's all about skills, and that he needs to do this in just a single shot, and how he will do this in a single shot, and how his brain is about to scramble yours in reference to Koichi. As we see number 6 using overclock and his newly modified body to take a rifle shot out on Koichi. He's planning on shooting Koichi dead in the head. Then you see number 6 being hit in the side of the head, thrown to the ground with a punch, as another punch comes and smacks him in the head. As you have someone repeating something that number 6 said about how this bullet is going to move so fast at supersonic speed that he won't know what hit him, and that no one could ever defend against this. Which is something that number 6 says, as you have this one individual who looks very familiar and has some brass knuckles telling him that that was most likely his train of thought, and how that thought would ride him to victory, as we get to the final part of this chapter where this person says, well, too bad, sucker, because I'm here. Oh my gosh, it's Knuckle Duster. Knuckle Duster is back. He comes in with his brass knuckles and punches number 6 in the head to a bloody, most likely, pulp. So if you hadn't realized, this is what I was waiting for a long time. Ever since they literally had that image of Knuckle Duster's brass knuckles disappearing, I knew it was going to be inevitability. I think everyone knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. And you know what? This fight was very long. Koichi fighting off number 6, it took a long time. Maybe it could have been shortened, possibly. But if this is the payoff that we had to wait for and had to go through all of that, you know what? I'm okay with this. And I am okay with this because Knuckle Duster is back! So, what does this mean for the story moving forward? Well, it means that we're in the final stages of not this fight, of this series, with the reintroduction and the confirmation that Knuckle Duster is literally still alive. You know, the character that literally had a building fall on him. Oh gosh. So, when it comes to this chapter, overall, I think it was amazing. If not only for the reason that we get to see Knuckle Duster in this chapter, but in actuality, I think it was a really good chapter for Vigilantes. We got to see more of Koichi trying to be a hero, avoiding the anonymous villains, using his brain to lure them out of the situation. That was cool, and also coming to the realization that this was all a part of number 6's plan to lure Koichi to Old Town, which, you know, makes sense because the area where we are in right now is pretty much the same area where we started the story off, so, you know, thematic relevance there. But it's very interesting because it's also where the Crawler normally hangs out, his home turf, and that the thought that he is going to defeat the big bad in his own home turf, once again, very thematic. As well as we get to see, once again, some older characters that we've known about for a while, and now some of them may be taking actions to help Koichi. That is going to be very cool. I can't wait to see where that goes. Hopefully it goes somewhere great. Maybe Miu, the twins, are possibly going to somehow use their quirks without any of the heroes knowing to help stop number 6 and put an end to him, possibly. But at the very least, what we know is that Knuckle Duster is back and that Knuckle Duster is going to be involved in this final fight, and that's all that I can really ask for. And you know what? It makes sense for Knuckle Duster to be in this fight because guess what? Number 6 is literally using Overclock, which once belonged to O-Clock, which is now known as Knuckle Duster, who you know literally punches number 6 in the head multiple times because of course he would do that because he knows the weaknesses of his O-Clock quirk. Of his Overclock quirk because it was his. So it makes sense that he would be the one to get the bloody beat down on him. Especially since Koichi is literally incapable of harming someone, you need someone like Knuckle Duster to put in the work and beat this thing down. So yeah, most likely next chapter we're going to get a confirmation or a mini flashback to how Knuckle Duster got to the situation, how he was able to survive a literal building falling on him, and what's going to be going on next within this fight, because I think that we are going to be focusing on next chapter, if not on the flashback, Knuckle Duster going up against number 6 and how he'll be able to take him on while waiting for Koichi to come and help eventually, and if not, bring All Might to the scene. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about this chapter of Vigilantes. Really enjoyed it, mainly because we got to see Knuckle Duster, and technically I predicted that we would see Knuckle Duster in this chapter. I mean, I said that for literally every other My Hero Academia Vigilantes manga review, but hey, at least I was right this time, and that's all that matters. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this chapter, hopefully you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave a like on this video, and leave a comment down below on whether or not you were excited that Knuckle Duster was going to be here, or even if you knew that Knuckle Duster was actually going to show up later on in the series. Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below, as well as leave a subscription on my YouTube channel. Yep, that's how that works. As well as hit that bell to be notified for whenever I upload more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!